This is Battleground, the MMA debate show where we debate a subject until it is done. I'm Mike Ginn. That's professional kickboxer Brandon the Mechanic Catino. Every week we jump into a subject, or every week or every couple weeks we jump into a subject. We debate it from top to bottom, figure it out until it's done. Of course, this is on Fighters First Network. Make sure you hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment, jump into the conversation. Let us know your thoughts on whatever we're talking about this week. We got a hot topic, but before we get to that, of course, FightersFirst.shop. Get all your holiday needs. Get some dope merch while you're at it, including the Mechanic Collection. Shop. Got about, maybe you could try to squeeze it in right now. If you order today, you might get it by Christmas. So go ahead and get those orders in. If nothing else, you get it fresh for the new year and be able to rock some dope stuff. That said, today's subject: what is the best division in all of MMA? Not just the UFC, not just PFL, not just Bellator. We're talking about the best weight class across MMA, talking about different criteria. What makes the best weight class? Is it the guy or girl on top? Is it just the depth? Is it, maybe just the top five of like the greatest fighters in that division? So we'll talk about all that. We'll debate it and go back and forth. But Brandon, this is your subject today. This is your choice of episode. So first start off and tell me a little bit of criteria of what you think actually makes the best weight class in all of MMA. And then give me like maybe your top three so we can start narrowing things down.
Yeah, no, like to me, when I really thought about this I was just thinking like, what is really just the best boss to be the best to me? You have to be the deepest. So what's the best and deepest division? Which means like you can go down not just the top 2, top 3, but the top 5, top 10, top 15. Where are these guys or girls? And also too, you're looking at other promotions where they are: UFC, Bellator, PFL, ONE. Where do they all stack up at? And so that's really was my thought process, because saying back in the day, with the UFC and Pride back in the day, it used to be the light heavyweight division, the 205 with the Chuck Liddells, the Rampage, Shogun Huas, that was really big. And then of course, you also had the welterweight division with GSP and Matt Hughes, going on, back at that time, also too with BJ Penn. But nowadays, things have changed. There's a lot of divisions that are on the come up. For me, probably say my top 3 right now is really, of course, you got lightweight, which really has kind of been the deepest one for a while, but though the featherweight division is really coming on up, and then really lately now the bantamweight division is really on a tear, because you got what's going on in the UFC, but also too now you see Bellator, they're doing their Grand Prix, with their 135 division. So we got those 3 right there. That's my top 3. I don't know what your top 3 is. You could have middleweight in there. You could have heavyweight in there. It's all depends on what it is that
nobody's got heavyweight in there right now, Brandon. Not even me. I'm not even that guy. Honestly, I'm a little different than you, but you brought up some really good points. For one, I think bantamweight is definitely a contender especially if you go UFC, from Funkmaster, Aljamain Sterling, Peter Yan, the dual champions, all the way down to a Song Yadong, a Cody Stamann, a Sean O'Malley, who's like towards the bottom of the rankings of the bantamweight division. You go across to Bellator, Sergio Pettis, of course, Juan Archuleta, just to name a couple. Patchy Mix, another one, Magomedov. Keep going. James Gallagher, we talked about on Art of MMA a lot. Just looking at it, bantamweight is stacked. Another division I throw in there is the welterweight division. For both reasons. One, the best fighter in MMA right now is probably hands down Kamaru Usman. But look how deep the division is across sports. PFL with your boy Ray Cooper, Roy McDonald, another Magomed Kamirov, even João Ceferino in that division, veterans like Gleason Tebow. But you go to the UFC, and then all of a sudden you got a who's who from obviously Usman, but you got the Covington, Burns, Edwards, Luque, Thompson, Masvidal, just to name a few right off the bat. Hamzat Chimaev, who's coming up huge, Bilal Muhammad, Michael Kisei, another up-and-comer like Sean Brady. Like, so I get really excited when we start talking about the welterweights, because the welterweights are, like, to me, that weight class that's on the verge of the big guys, right? Like, from lightweight and down, I kind of think fast, like, explosive fighters. And then from welterweight up to heavyweight, then I'm like, all right, now we're starting to talk about some of the bigger guys, right? Because we know a lot of those welterweights are walking around at least 200 pounds, if not more, in their free time. So they're really bigger dudes, too, cutting down. My second one would be the lightweight division. We just saw, Oliveira keep his belt against Poirier. You got fighters like everybody from Justin Gaethje, the name everybody loves to hate, Conor McGregor. You got up-and-comers like Rafael Fiziev, really tough fighters like Brad Riddell, Diego Ferreira, Dan Hooker, who's kind of going down in the rankings a little bit, but it's always tough. Veterans like Rafael Dos Anjos, Tony Ferguson, right? The only problem I have with the lightweight division is I don't think it transcends across other promotions as well. The UFC is very heavy at the top of the lightweight division, especially the top 7 or 8 guys. But like you go to PFL, you're talking about, Hashman Fio, who won the tournament, Clay Collard.
Pettis is still there.
Anthony Pettis, but he's on the downside of his career. I don't even put him there anyway. Former 2-time champion Nathan Schulte, who had a little bit of a rough season this year. Over in Bellator, you're talking about obviously Patricky Pitbull, Brett Primus, another Nurmagomedov coming up, Usman, who's 14-0, another up-and-coming fighter, Sidney Outlaw, obviously Peter Keeley, who just lost, veterans like Benson Henderson. But I feel like a lot of the explosiveness in the lightweight division is at the top. The top 7 or 8 guys, especially in the UFC, kind of dominate all the headlines, and deservedly so. And if you're going to make that one of the best divisions, I wouldn't really argue with you, because there's so many explosive names. Like, once Khabib got out of the way of the lightweight division, the whole thing opened wide open of all this talent. And then the third one is one you mentioned, the bantamweights. And I'll go even further of why the bantamweights should be in the conversation. Yeah, we know about the UFC, and we know about everything going on with Funkmaster and Peter Yan, TJ Dillashaw being back, the unstoppable like longevity of a Jose Aldo, Corey Sandhagen, Rob Font, Davishvili, who's going up, veterans like Dominic Cruz, Pedro Munoz, Frankie Edgar, young guys like Sean O'Malley and Chito Vera, just those kind of like in the middle guys, even like Song Yadong in there. But then you go across the world, and bantamweight is one of those divisions that just kind of makes noise no matter where you go. Obviously, in Bellator, we talked about Sergio Pettis, Juan Archuleta, Rafion Stotts. Huh?
I said Hiraguchi. Saying he's in rise, too. He got that Japan action going on over there.
But Rafion Stotts.
Yep.
Like, on the rise. Patchy Mix, always tough. Magomedov, Higo. Ricky Bandejas, another dude that's not even in the rankings, like on that list. And then you listen to like Crossing Borders on the network. A lot of those fighters we're talking about down in the Lux Fight League on UFC Fight Pass and like Mexico and stuff like that are lighter weight fighters. That bantamweight division is stacked as well. So you're sitting there going across the globe. A lot of times we're talking about these lighter fighters, some even lighter than bantamweight, to be honest with you. But a lot of the bigger fighters in the world are in like America or Russia, or even like, I guess Britain has a lot of like the 155, 170. Mm-hmm. But a lot of the world, like Japan, Mexico, and so on, have lighter weight fighters. the Demetrius Johnsons of the world and stuff like that, people want to forget about, right? Like, he's still there. Whether it's 125, 135, doesn't matter. So I think bantamweight is definitely in that discussion. So that's my top three. It's welterweight, lightweight, and bantamweight. I don't think anybody's debating heavyweight at this point. You can talk about the names at the top of the division, but that division's long since gone with the way of the dinosaurs as far as MMA goes. You want to talk boxing, then that's a different discussion, because heavyweight boxing is as hot as it's ever been with the top 3 or 4 names in that sport. But Battleground is an MMA show, so we'll stick to MMA on this subject. So that's my top 3. Brandon's got his. Now it's time to kind of get a little bit more nitty-gritty into it. You named your top few. Now's the time you kind of got to stand your ground, Brandon. Let's go to war with this one. What is your top division? And tell me why.
All right. So I almost was going to be a homer and be like, yo, lightweight. I think, to me, lightweight has been the best. But really, I've really been kind of thinking about it. And I think I got to go with the featherweight division as the number one, because I wasn't going to be a prisoner of the moment and say bantamweight, because bantamweight, like I said, is hot right now, especially with what we saw with the Aldo Font fight and Pettis and Haraguchi, and the announcement going on there. But I'm going to go with the featherweight division, because, like I said, you got what's happening in not just in the UFC, right, where you got Volkanovski, you got Max Holloway, you got Brian Ortega, Yair Rodriguez, the Korean zombies there, Dan Ige, Calvin Kattar, that right there is a murderer's row right there. But then, of course, then you go over to Bellator. Of course, you got Pitbull. Then you got, of course, the guy AJ McKee is there as well. You got oh man, I can't remember his name right now. He just fought.
Your debate is ruined if you can't remember his name.
No, stop it. I got so many names going through my head right now.
Aaron Pico, Boris.
No. Emmanuel Sanchez. There you go. But then also, it's cute. You just said every week we got Aaron Pico. You got Adam Borax there as well. So I'm saying that's a murderer's row there. And then
not to help your debate, but also if you go over to PFL.
Yeah, that's what I was about to do. No, I was about to go to the PFL. Like I said, then you got, then you have, of course, Lance Palmer, which, yes, he is boring, but he's still very talented. Chris Wade was just doing his thing there. So I mean, they got plenty.
And don't forget Kay Bulayev.
Exactly. I can't. He is the champion,
and he's another one of Khabib's guys.
Exactly, he's one of Khabib's guys. He might
arguably should be in that discussion for one of the best featherweights in the world, with your boy AJ McKee and Max Holloway and Volkanovski and stuff. And I think the next year or so, I think Kay Bulayev is going to be in that conversation. The more exposure he gets. But go ahead.
No, and that's really that's just the 3 main big ones. But then, of course, I say you got, if you go local as well, you go to your regional MMA, your LFAs, your Ring of Combats, your CFFCs, you got bangers there. Then, of course, you go over the one as well, So that's why, to me, I just think featherweight is, you can have a mixed match of those guys. Oh, man, I forgot, man. Heck, even Edson Barboza is now down there at featherweight, too. Man, I almost forgot about him. Or my boy Giga Jagati as well, who is about to fight Calvin Kattar. But to me, it's like those guys, like how it used to be at lightweight was, like, number 15 could fight number 1 and 15 could win on any given night. You just don't know who's going to take it. And I think featherweight is now like that, where any given night, man, number 13 could beat number 7. Number 20 could beat number 10. It just depends on that. It just depends on that night. So that's why, to me, I think featherweight is just up above the best division. And plus, too, man, they got violence on their side as well. To me, featherweight is now like team violence over here.
I hear you, and I agree a lot of the points. I want to fight you, but I agree with a lot of the points you made. But I go back to the welterweight division, and I'll tell you, like, I'll go through the whole list, but I'll also tell you exactly why. Just what you said about top to bottom, right? Right at the top, the best pound for pound fighter in all of MMA and Kamaru Usman right now. I find anybody has a hard time debating that. You can go different weight classes, but Usman seems to be the most dominant champion of all the divisions. I look at all the up-and-comers, the Sean Bradys, even the Salakovs and the Ponziniblios who are coming back, and the Hamzat Shemayevs down at the bottom of the rankings. The veterans like Jorge Masvidal and Stephen Thompson that still bring name value and can bring it in the cage. Up-and-comers like Vicente Luque, people like Leon Edwards and Gilbert Burns keep knocking on that door. Much as you hate him, Kobe Covington. But I'll go over to Bellator. You love to talk Bellator. Amosov right there, 26-0. Nobody talks about him. Excitement, Michael Venom Page, 20-1. Only time he lost was to a veteran champion in Douglas Lima who knocked him out. Jason Jackson we talk about a lot. Neiman Gracie, another guy. Logan Story, Derek Anderson, Paul Daly, even another up-and-comer, Kyle Crutchmer. You want to go over PFL? Same thing. Veterans like Rory McDonald, your guy, Ray Cooper III, Magomed Kamirov, veterans like Zhao Seferino, Sadabu Sai, Gleason Tebow, who I mentioned before, Curtis Millender. You know, he had a good run outside of the PFL, had a tough time in PFL, which just goes to the level of talent that we didn't know to expect, that PFL kind of surprised us with. From top to bottom, I don't know if there's a deeper division in all of MMA than welterweights, especially when you go, like we're talking about Cage Warriors, Patty the Batty, who came in at 155, talking about also fighting at, different weight classes, maybe 170. You got Conor McGregor, who's going from 155 to 170 back and forth. Jacked as he's looking in the gym, I find it hard to believe that he'll make 155 again. He's definitely, like, I know people joked about the Jose Aldo rematch. He and Max Holloway rematches. He's not making 145 ever. Like, I do not see that coming. They'd have to meet at like 155 maybe. From pound for pound, from top to bottom, and then you also look at that killer top five, especially in the UFC and in Bellator. I think for my money, the welterweight division is hands down the best division in all of MMA, and you could go across the globe because it's one of those divisions that does transcend well. Not a lot of Mexican heavy like welterweights. I think you kind of go from like 135, 115, 125, 135, and 125 is another division you might be seeing more of with the Brandon Morenos and I'll tell you another guy, Alessandro Casa and Lux. He's going to be another starter. Keep an eye on. But then they kind of jump up to like 185. And you talk about the Bam Bam Valenzuelas that are kind of knocking on the door. So they kind of then jump up to like a little heavier weight class because they don't have a lot of guys that are heavier. So they kind of like migrate to that middleweight class. And of course, middleweight's always exciting. The Adesanyas, new guys coming in there like Alex Pereira and stuff to kind of spice it up. But they're not very deep. Light heavyweight's not very deep. Heavyweight's not very deep. I think the divisions we talked about definitely are the deepest. But now we're talking about two divisions. Who's the best? Welterweight versus featherweight, which really surprised me because I thought you would jump on that bantamweight division, and you were really swinging me. Like, bantamweight's my number two. Like, you were really swinging me to bantamweight. And I was sitting there like, man, maybe he's right. I don't know what I was thinking Brandon was right. But maybe he's right. And I was just like, but then I was like, I was looking at the list and the fighters. I got to go welterweight. Have I changed your opinion? Or you didn't change my opinion, but have I changed your opinion?
No, man, because when you're thinking of welterweight, and just by going on what you said, man, when I was cool when you were going with your top in the UFC, but then when you went to the Bellator list, and I'm sorry, man, like they still got Paul Daly on their list. Derek Anderson, he's a talented guy, but Logan Stanley, I'm just like, yeah, man.
He's 12-1.
I mean, no, Logan Stanley, you're right. He's good. But I'm just going.
Derek Alexander's 17-4.
I'm just saying, man, to me, featherweight's going hands down. But and I didn't even mention any of my teammates either. I didn't even mention Shane Burgos. I didn't even mention Mike Trezano, Boy, featherweight division got bangers, violence, beautiful fights.
I didn't mention young guys like Joey Davis, 8-0. I did mention Kyle Crutchmer, who's 8-1, finally had a hiccup, but he bounced back. You talk about him all the time. Jason Jackson is the future in that division. And then you got explosive fighters like Michael Page, who brings the noise. You got veterans like Douglas Lima, who we've always talked as being one of the best welterweights in the entire world. He's kind of had some hiccups lately, but he's still one of the top guys. And then Amosov. Amosov could arguably, in any promotion, be one of the top guys that people don't know about.
Nah, you're right. No, like I said, they got some talent, but I don't think they are as deep and as stacked as the featherweight division is across all the divisions. Saying you got guys, you just keep on going down with that Bellator division, the Bellator, the UFC, PFL. I'm telling you, I just think they're just stacked. They're good.
My problem with the featherweight division is that it's top heavy, because I know you named a lot of names, but for real, nobody's really coming to see Sadiq Yusuf, Movsar Evloev. I love Alex Caceres, but he ain't carrying the needle.
Come on, baby. Bruce Leroy, baby. Just had a comeback victory over here.
Arnold Allen's ducking everybody he can. Josh Emmett kind of just hangs around.
Well, he just got back. He just had a banger. Him and Dan Ige just had a banger this past weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, Josh Emmett keeps hanging around. Barboza's always explosive, but he's lost a few in a row. You do have your boy Giga, who's like making a lot of noise. He could be a top 5 fighter pretty soon. Korean Zombie's kind of up and down.
But wait. This isn't about as my brother's always explosive, but he's lost a few. That doesn't matter. It's about how stacked is division. He's still a name. He's still got talent, and he's still in his row. On any given night, you put him up against Max Holloway. You never know, man. It could be Barboza's night. He could be chopping Max Holloway's legs, and he gets the W. Or it could be that Max Holloway boxes his ears off. You never know. That's the beauty about this division. Anybody can beat anybody on any given night.
I love the top of the division across the promotions. I think featherweight has some great guys.
Do you see Jason Jackson beating Stephen Wonderboy Thompson? Do you see Jason Jackson beating Gilbert Burns? Do you see Jason Jackson beating Vicente Luque?
First of all, Vicente Luque is going to be the champion. Maybe not champion, but he's going to be a title contender for a long time. Stephen Thompson, I do see Jason Jackson beating Stephen Thompson today. I think Stephen Thompson slowed down. I think he had one really good performance last December, and then he came out kind of flat his next one against Gilbert Burns. I think Burns, first of all, look, you love to say like there's great fighters outside of the UFC, and I agree with you. But I think most people would agree that the UFC has some of the most elite.
But I'm saying, but do you see Jason Jackson?
I don't need them competing because I think Jason Jackson is another name to add how great the welterweight division is.
I'm saying, but do you see Jason Jackson being a Douglas Lima? Do you see Jason Jackson being a Ray Cooper?
That'd be a fun fight.
So I'm saying,
but on any given day, I think him and Jason Jackson and Ray Cooper could go fight 10 times, and I think it could be probably 6-4 Ray Cooper. But also Ray Cooper's at the top. He's one of the top 5. Jason Jackson's one of the top 10
all over the place. Yo, I could see an Emmanuel Sanchez beating a Dan Ige anytime. You know, Emmanuel Sanchez has got that motor. Heck, man, I can see
who in MMA beats Kamaru Usman? Look, listen to the crickets right there. We talk about Alexander Volkanovski.
Whoa, hey.
And we talk about AJ McKee, and we talk about all the what ifs.
Give my guy Leon Edwards his chance. You never know what might happen.
Fuck out of here. He barely survived 5 rounds with Nate Diaz.
What are you talking about? He handled Nate Diaz something like the last minute. Get out of here, man.
Yeah, that last minute, he almost got knocked out.
Oh, my goodness. Yo, I don't know, man, dude.
That one round is the reason why Nate Diaz still got extended his contract.
I can see,
and there's another guy, Nate Diaz, right there, 170.
Yeah, I can see Wonderboy taking it to Usman if they keep it standing.
I mean, obviously, Usman's showing he's been subject to like catching a punch once in a while.
He's gonna catch a punch and a kick if he goes up against Wonderboy.
Yeah, Masvidal had him rocked for a second. Burns had him rocked in that first round. I mean, any given day. We just saw with Amanda Nunes. And I'll tell you what, if we weren't going just 3, another weight class I want to throw in there just to give it attention. That women's strawweight division, unfortunately, it's only the UFC, but that women's strawweight division from Rose Namajunas all the way down to Brianna Van Buren is just fun, action-packed. Your girl Carla Esparza, Zhang Weili, Rodriguez, Mackenzie Dern, Nina Nunes, Galdea, Torres, Watterson, Angela Hill, Ribas, Lemos. Just, I love watching the women's strawweight division. And they would be number 4, by the way. So I don't want you to think we're excluding women at home. The women's strawweight division is my number 4 division in all of weight classes across. Because that division, especially in the UFC, I know there's a few fighters in Invicta and across the globe. For my money, I think the reason why I chose the 3 is because it goes across different promotions. But that women's strawweight division is by far the best UFC division. If we were talking about just UFC, they might have been my number 1. Just from 1 to 15, I think that's the best division in all, competitive-wise, excitement-wise, a great champion in Rose. Like, I think right there, that division was right there. But if we're talking across all different promotions across the globe, I think the welterweight division's mine. Brandon thinks the featherweight division is his. We kind of went back and forth. Now it's your turn. Leave a comment below. Jump in the conversation. What is the best weight class across MMA? I don't think Brandon and I are going to come to a conclusion on this one. I think we'll keep going head to head. We could do this for an hour, but that's that today. This is Battleground, the MMA debate show. But part of that debate is you guys at home. So leave a comment, jump in the conversation. Is Brandon right? Am I right? Come on, we know. Am I right? But that's that for this episode. Make sure you check out FightersFirst.shop. Get the Mechanic Collection. We're going to be coming out with new fresh Battleground shirts soon, so stay tuned for that. This holiday season, we've been rolling out lots of great stuff. Got beanies in there now. We got a lot of hoodies, a lot of cool stuff for the wintertime. So check all that out, FightersFirst.shop. For the Mechanic, Brandon Catino, I'm Mike Ginn. We'll see you on next episode of Battleground. Thanks for watching.